And I'm going to talk to you today about anger and frustration and about the consequences of that on our bodies, on other people's bodies, on our relationships, and of course some suggestions about what you might do if you suffer from anger as a go-to emotion to protect yourself or to shut the world away. First, I want to separate out two kinds of anger. There's the good kind and the bad kind. Well, the good kind and the not so good kind, you know. Of course, the good kind is that anger that pushes you to fight against injustice of any kind and fight against oppression of any kind that you're suffering or that you've suffered in the past. That's a very important anger. It's a very important tool. It's, of course, important not to let it control you. And it's also important not to suppress that out of fear of conflict. But fear of conflict is a whole different story, and I'm not going to go into that at the moment. What I want to address is the not so good anger, which is, of course, the anger that's misplaced. It's the anger that lives in us, and I say us because anger is one of my go-to places when I feel triggered. But so it lives in us because of our past experiences. Anger, that's kind of a go-to emotion, is something that shows up when you've had a lot of injustice in your life. It's something that shows up when you you carry the experience of a trauma of some kind, or unsafety of some kind that maybe you grew up with, maybe your home or the neighborhood that you grew up in or the school that you went to. Or maybe it's just messages that you got that you need to keep your head down. So that's the kind of anger that shows up and kind of erupts and disrupts the little things. It disrupts our lives from the little things that people say or do to us. And those are usually things that are innocently brought to us from friends, family, co-workers, maybe even a boss, although there's of course the borderline where some bosses are abusive, some are simply as innocent as the rest of us, and we see them as that place of power and assume that kind of project all those negative experiences from people who had power over us in the past onto them. So there's a bit of an overlap there. So the anger shows up at these triggers, at these perceived experiences of injustice or attempts to put us down from the world around us. And those experiences usually aren't meant to hurt us. Like, those people usually aren't trying to actually oppress us. And that anger shows up, and of course it creates dissonance in the relationship. It creates harm in your own heart. You usually feel ashamed after you've done it, and that makes you want to hide in yourself even further. That creates further disconnect from the people around you. They stop trying because they're afraid of your reactions. It's this whole downward spiral of disconnection, and that disconnection of course leads to more fear and a self-fulfilling prophecy of some kind, because you're experiencing that oppression on a regular basis. Now, what to do with that kind of anger, and how to begin to heal that and change your behavior, and of course change your emotional state or instinctive emotional state. First, I want to suggest that you watch the video I made about what is a feeling, and that will clarify you how a feeling comes with a desire to act a certain way or an action tendency. And so separating out the feeling from the desire to act a certain way is a very important step. And I clarify a lot about it in the video, but just that simple knowing that part of an emotion is the feeling, say anger is the feeling, and then there's a desire to act a certain way, and those two things can be separated out. So just the awareness of that might help you. The other thing to understand is that with anger, especially the not so good kind of anger, the best cure for that is humility and the assumption of goodwill. And it's a training. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not something that you're going to remember to do on a regular basis. But here's what I recommend if you suffer from anger that creates disconnection in your life in any way. At the end of your day, in the middle of your day, whenever you have some minutes to reflect on your anger moments, and it can be anger moments from that day, anger moments from a year ago, anger moments from your childhood, reflecting on the people that created that, and then assuming goodwill on the part of those people, and saying to yourself, saying a little prayer in your heart to see and feel that person and what's in their mind and what's in their heart. And just opening yourself to their experience is going to give you the vision, the right kind of goggles that are going to allow you to see those innocent moments that trigger you, and separate those out from those not so innocent moments of people who actually want to harm you or put you down in some way. Now, humility is important for these ones, those moments where people are innocently hurting you in some way or triggering you. And of course, humility is also good in the other moments where people are putting you down, but it's not, of course, desirable to allow that to happen to you. Anger has its place, and its place is when there's actual injustice in your life, and to allow you to fight against that. Now, you don't want the anger to take you over, because of course you don't live in a zombie apocalypse, and you don't need to run out there and protect your family from the zombies. Even though sometimes, especially our employers can seem like they're zombies. That's a truth we all have to live with sometimes. But you want wisdom to guide your anger, not the desire for violence or disconnection or putting people away, that instinctive animalistic approach. So either way, you want to separate out the action tendency, the desire to act a certain way, from the anger, even in those oppressive moments where people are actually being mean to you, and respond from your heart, cutting that negativity out of your life in whatever way is most appropriate from the guidance of your inner voice, from the guidance of your wisdom in those situations. And I know those are difficult situations, and it's a whole other story about, again, how to deal with conflict. So I'm gonna offer some things on that, but not in this video. So again, for anger, it's about humility. It's about seeing the other person in their innocence, especially the people who are not really trying to hurt you. And the more you build that ability to listen and see, the more they're going to start trusting you again, and that connection, that bridge is going to start to heal and heal and heal, especially if you have family members this goes on with. That bridge is going to really start to heal as you start to listen. And of course that includes being listened to, and that of course is a whole nother story as well about how to approach people with your need to be heard. And of course the best way to do that is to offer your ability to listen and hear initially, and then request to be heard as well. I hope that helps in some way. Always love to hear your thoughts and comments on these things, so please don't hesitate to share either privately or in a comment below. Thank you.